What's up, my love? Welcome back to the Big Dreamers Bible podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Jane, and today is the SOD riff of the month. I was actually not going to do the riff of the month, and I had a planned podcast episode that I wanted to share with you guys today. But then I was like, I have been doing this new thing this year. I don't know if you've caught on, which is where I do actually share one riff from inside the School of Dreams because I drop a daily riff and the riffs are just so fucking juicy. Like, I feel guilty keeping it to ourselves because we have so many powerful ones. And I find like the one that made my clients be like, ah, like this is it. Mic drop, mic drop. Holy shit, the nuggets are everywhere. The wisdom, oh my God, the breakthroughs. Like I look for the ones that really got my clients going. And then I love to share one out of the many riffs that go on in there once a month on the podcast. Now, the reason why I ended up deciding to do it today was because I was like, I'm currently inviting you guys into SOD. It's the SOD 2 week teaser. It is on right now and it happens once a year, okay? This won't happen again. And I honestly believe the 2 week SOD teaser is like the biggest opportunity of the year in my world. It's like it's the best opportunity, it's the best offer that I put out there because for $44, although once this podcast airs on Thursday, the price is going to be increasing literally tomorrow. So on Friday, when the SOD 2 week teaser begins, on Friday, March Oh, I need to know these dates. Oh no, March 13th. That's right. On Friday the 13th, when the SOD 2 week teaser begins, the price increases to $77. So right now it's $44. If you're listening to this episode the day it comes out, jump in now because it's literally $44. And not only are you going to get the live riffs that I drop during our time together, which are going to be fire, they're going to be themed, the vibe of those those 2 weeks, just those 2 weeks, just those new riffs, the vibe of that is spending 2 weeks dedicating yourself to expanding yourself into your highest timeline where you are now normalizing big money, big opportunities, a big, beautiful fucking life as the standard. Baseline standard expectation, new normal. So that's going to be the vibe for the brand new riffs that I drop. But you also get access to over 100 riffs inside the space on sales strategies, marketing strategies, messaging strategies, launch strategies, and everything in between when it comes to business. Then so much juice on the energetics and emotional mastery side, so much success energetics. And I swear those riffs change my clients' lives. These riffs have made my clients thousands of dollars and literally shifted their frequency, shifted their timelines within minutes. It's kind of unreal. And the fact that you get to come into this space for 2 weeks for $44 is unbelievable. I honestly got told I was crazy for this. And you know what? My answer back to that was like, I just honestly feel like it's a necessity. Like I know the power of the space. My clients know the power of this space, which is why they never want to leave. They're re-signing months in advance for an entire year. Like they can feel how quickly their energy shifts when they listen to these riffs, when they're plugged into a space that activates and expands them. And in my opinion, yeah, it's crazy to give you this opportunity to have access to so much of my work for $44. It is crazy. However, to me, it's a necessity. You deserve this. You deserve to know how to build a beautiful fucking life, how to have a thriving fucking business, how to make fuck tons of money and enjoy your life in the process. These codes have changed my life. They have changed my clients' lives. And I feel like it's a fucking honor to be able to let you come in and experience this for $44. So please take advantage of it because it's insane. And I'm so excited to have you in this space for 2 weeks. So the link is in the show notes. If you're watching this on my YouTube, the link is in the description below. Get in there before the price increase, or even if it's increased, get in there for $77. We're going to have a fucking blast and I'm going to blow your mind. Okay, I'm going to blow your mind. All right, let me focus. So today is an SOD riff. Here's a little taste tester, okay? Here's a little taste test of what goes down on a daily basis. Now, today's riff was a question my client asked me during our coaching week. And you will hear me answer her question. Sorry, you'll hear me read the question because I bring that forward. I share the question before I go in and answer it. So you'll understand like what I'm actually answering her. But to give you a little bit of context, if you're unfamiliar with my journey, last year in 2025 was my biggest year in business, in life, in money, in everything. I quantum leaped at a rapid rate. We were collapsing time around six figures so quickly. It was bananas. We ended the year having a $500,000 year in business, which was absolutely absurd. And it just was a massive quantum leap. Like I made more in that 1 year of my business than in all of my years in business combined up until that point. So it was a very expansive year. And my client wanted to know, how have I expanded into a new money timeline? What was my process? What was I feeling? How have I done this? How did I go from someone who was like having anxiety just getting my nails done to now making multiple 5 figures a month every single month on repeat? Like, how does one feel doing that, feeling that, experiencing that? And she wanted like the juicy fucking codes. And I was like, with pleasure, sit down. Because to be completely honest, I share this in the riff, but I am unpacking these codes myself because there's codes and there is a process, and there was certain things that I did energetically and strategically in regards to my own experience with money that helped me expand into this new timeline, normalize this new timeline, integrate this new timeline, and made myself do the success energetics work so my nervous system, my mindset, my energy, who I am, I felt safe at this new level of life success and wealth because it happened so fucking fast. And I've seen women experience extraordinary success, pop off, make more money than ever before, and get so uncomfortable with the amount of money they have, spend it all, give it all away, just feel uncomfortable, and their bank account goes right back to where they were in the beginning of their business or before they even started a business. So understanding how to hold wealth, how to normalize wealth, how to be with wealth, how to walk out your life, not only expanding, continuing to expand into a new wealth timeline, but actually normalizing this new amount of money that's coming in is what you're in for today. And I'm so excited for you to listen. So I'm going to get to the riff because it's juicy. It's 30 fucking minutes. Like these riffs are fucking modules, okay? And I cannot wait to see you inside the SOD teaser. I'm so damn excited to get to support you, to bring you into my favorite space on the fucking internet, and just get to know you and let you have access to so much magic that's inside that space. All right, let's get to the SOD riff of the month. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to answer this question. And I low-key feel like there's going to be a part 2, maybe a part 3, because this is actually something that I've been thinking about a lot as my journey has evolved, and what I'm realizing now, what I'm experiencing now, what I'm moving into now. So I also feel like there's probably going to be a brand new money program that I teach in here eventually this year, maybe, because there's things, okay? So I'm really glad this question is coming up, but it's also stuff I haven't spoken about yet. So bear with me while I try to find words to these new frequencies, these new codes, these new things. That's why I'm like, there may be a part 2, part 3, part 4, part 25.6 of this. Okay, so I'm going to answer Jen's question, which is very exciting. Surrounding our hot topic of pedestaling the dream. What about money? I was thinking about your story and how tight you felt with money in your day-to-day life, unable to go to the nail salon, lunch, a coffee shop, etc., without feeling guilty, irresponsible, and undeserving. Living in desperation, and how am I going to muscle through paying rent this month? Something stood out to me when you said to Tash, once you had the dream, you felt normal. Life didn't ascend to Earth 2.0 where you were still tan. I fucking love that so much. You were still tan, just with the dream. That must have brought about so many realizations about putting your worth and happiness in external circumstances and what's perceived as making it. Before I get to your next portion, which is where I'm going to really spend most of the riff, I just want to say this is the difference between pursuing the dream and living in the dream. And there is a season where you are building and pursuing the dream. There is that season, but most people get stuck in that season. It's like, there's no integration. There's no like, this is who I am now. There's no re-identification of, I can't stop winning. There's just, okay, I pursued, and I received, and all I know how to do is to pursue. I don't know how to live my life. And that is something that obviously I've been working on since the beginning of my business because of my experience and what I went through and what I was really, really desiring a difference in regards to my life and how I do anything next was very much more a lifestyle forward focused way of being. So I was already aware of that, but this is the concept of like, when you actually do receive the dream, yes, there's obviously, even with the entertainment industry, but even when now we're talking about money, it's not like, oh, I got paid 20 grand, now I'm good for the rest of my life. There's always going to be that like, and what's next, and what's next, and what's next. But we've got to get out of the identity of being someone who's always at the beginning. Okay, I'm pursuing, I'm growing, I'm expanding, I'm putting in the work, and I got the job. And then after the job finishes, it's like, and right back to the beginning, I need to pursue. I'm not there yet. But you've already arrived. Now we build on top of. You've already arrived. Now we stack the momentum. Now we play a different game. Now we have to re-identify ourselves as someone who is a winner, who does win. And now we identify as someone who can't stop winning. We need to shift the focus. But what happens to a lot of high achieving women, myself included for a very long time, and I catch myself in this pattern a lot still because it is a default setting. It is like very easy to let the physical external circumstances of, okay, I had a great month. And even though, when you start bringing in, like when you start making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, there's a lot of recurring revenue there. So even though you may not be, next month is 50K, it's like, yeah, but it's still 25. We're already starting there. We're starting there. But if you don't ever let your identity catch up, if you don't ever let yourself catch up, then you will be starting the new month at $25,000 or $30,000 in recurring revenue, already feeling like that's not enough. This is the biggest problem. It's that we keep chasing the dangling carrot. I know I've been talking about this like nonstop, but I just want you to see what I'm really talking about in like a tangible, example of when you build the money, when the money's here, are you going to choose to change your identity, or are you going to be the same version of you? And I'm not speaking to you personally, Jen, just saying in general. Are you going to realize this is who you are now? Are you going to take the time to integrate the success so then you can compound it and build on top of it, and you begin the new month as someone who already identifies as a winner, as someone who already identifies as I'm safe, as someone who already identifies as someone who knows how to make money, as someone who knows what they're fucking doing, as someone who is on the right track, as someone who is creating progress, as someone who's making progress, as someone who's progressing, right? There's a re-identification that has to happen that does not happen a lot of the time because the external is still in the unknown, but we are always going to be in the unknown. And this is the frequency shift that happens in the very early, we've got to keep tabs on this. This is why I'm always on your asses about celebrate yourself, because if you don't take score, I know I say don't take score too soon, but what are you taking score of everything that is going right for you? If you don't do that, you're always going to keep identifying and feeling like you're not there yet. And then you're going to be there still feeling like you're not there yet. So that's the biggest difference between building and pursuing the dream and living in the dream. Living in the dream does not mean hands off doing nothing. Living in the dream and making it and genuinely feeling like I've made it does not mean we don't continue to pursue. It's pursuing in a different frequency. It's building, getting yourself off the ground, getting that initial momentum, experiencing a win. Now we stack the wins. Now we re-identify ourselves as someone who can do this. We've built confidence. We build trust. Now from that place of confidence and trust, we move faster. And we get more wins, and then we integrate that. And we start to see ourselves as someone who keeps winning. And we start seeing ourselves as someone who can trust life. And we start seeing ourselves as someone who can trust ourselves because our confidence is there. We start seeing ourselves as someone who identifies as someone who will always be okay, who will always figure it out. And the trust and the confidence builds, which means, yeah, you're still pursuing, but who you are pursuing is someone who is integrated at a cellular level, at the fundamental level, as someone who knows how to make money, as someone who knows how to create and attract and manifest success. Can you feel the difference? It's so fucking subtle. It's so subtle. But this is so much of the work. This is so much of the work because, again, I see this all the time. I've had clients do this. I've had peers speak to me about this. Peers who have made millions, okay, calling me being like, you keep talking about this non-hustle life. Like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, how are you so relaxed? And they've made so much more money than me. How are you so relaxed? And I'm like, why are you not? Who do you identify as? You're making millions, but you identify as a version of you on day one who's not safe, who can't do this, who's building. You haven't figured out how to live in this new era. You gotta shift the frequency. It's gotta come from an identity, a re-identification of who you know yourself to be. Okay, so that's like fucking 7 minutes of something I could talk about for 4 hours. But that's an important piece of the puzzle. So in your question, well, in your concept here of like, once you had the dream, you felt normal. Life didn't ascend you to Earth 2.0. You were still tan just with the dream. That must have brought so many realizations. This is where the realization is, I am still me. Life still is going on, but that doesn't mean I'm who I am and who I was on day one. I'm now Tanya with this credential. I'm now Tanya who experiences this win. What am I going to do from here? Who am I going to be from here? Am I going to choose to stack the wins? Am I going to choose to upgrade my identity and now be someone who's living in the dream, continuing the dream, building on top of the dream? Or am I going to stay as someone who lives in fear, stay as someone who lives in scarcity, stay as someone who continues to feel like I'm back to square one, back to square one? We're not compounding momentum like that. And quantum leaps come from compounded momentum. So that is one of the big things. Let me know if you guys want to talk more about that, because I have plenty to say. Okay, then the next portion of your question is, while knowing you're so close to the milli and going for the multi-millis, when you finally found safety in your bank account and could do the things you wanted, what changed? You can get a coffee every day now if you wanted to. Go to nice dinners, shop, vacations, easily pay rent. Does this same thing apply in this case? How do you feel about money now that you're in overflow? I swear I'll be happier when I don't have to question swiping my card. I also just wonder, will I still be like, okay, what's next? I've realized I wouldn't even know what to do with a bank account that is 6 figures, let alone millions. Maybe I start there. Okay, this is so good. So to piggyback off what I just said, there's been a lot of integration, because the money stuff is always a triggering thing for me. And I know that about myself. That was the whole reason why I even got into this work in the first place, was because I was so over feeling disempowered in my financial reality. So I know that the finances pull on my identity strings. It pulls on old self a lot, if depending on the circumstances, right? Not as much now, but that's because I've really done so much work around this, of really believing in my fucking core, like trusting life at a whole different level, building a solid relationship with money and really healing that relationship with money, healing it, not resenting money, not being mad at money, not being like, you haven't shown up for me in a week, where the fuck have you been? Not like healing my relationship with money and actually genuinely believing money always shows up for me. Money loves me. Money loves supporting my life. The desires I have are from the universe. And oh God, I actually had this breakthrough this morning while I was walking, because I've been expanding into a new reality that I'll share with you in a second. The vision has expanded. And I'm just so excited about it. And the vision has expanded from desire, not from need. I don't need anything else. Like, obviously, yeah, I'm not going to stop here. Like, I will be making more money to live the rest of my life. But it's like, the next level vision has kind of starting to like get clearer for me. And I shared this in the riff that I did on my birthday last week, when I was like, I'm going to dedicate time to getting clear on the vision, because it's not fully clear yet. I can feel myself being pulled to something, but what does that actually look like? I know I want more, but not from a place of I need more, but from a place of what else am I capable of? I'm curious of that, but I don't fully have the vision. And I was sharing how it's like a blank canvas, and over time it fills in. I don't need it to fill in today, but over time it fills in. What does my relationship look like? What am I doing? What does my business look like? How am I growing? How am I expanding? And because I give myself the spaciousness to let that fill in, it does. And it's very exciting. And what I realized was the way it feels for me now, of like the what's next portion of your question, the way it feels for me now, this is a breakthrough. The what's next is the same feeling as when I used to get like an availability check from my agent. Are you available to do the fucking Grammys? Are you available? Avail check coming in for you to do an award show or be on this TV show. It kind of feels like that now, of like the desire, because I've trained myself so much to believe that the desires that I have are because life wants me to have that. It's because I'm capable of that. It's because that desire is here and now, ready to be manifested now, right? So I've like, any desire that comes forward, it's not like, I can't do that. Oh my God, can I even do that? What am I thinking about? It's like, oh my God, if I can't stop thinking about that, I know what that means. I know what that means. And what I was having the breakthrough on was like, it feels like now this next level life that I'm manifesting, feeling into, creating, getting excited about isn't something that I need to question. Can I do this? Question, how do I do this? Get in my head, am I capable of this? And play this stupid mind game with myself, or get in my head of like, I'm not there yet, and lack myself into a new level of life. It genuinely felt like life like slipped me an email being like, avail check. Are you available for like multi-millions, investment properties? Like, I don't know, making multiple other income streams from other different places in your life. Like, avail check, are you down for it? And it felt like me accepting it. I was accepting the next level vision instead of proving my worth, fighting for it, wondering how. There was no force around it. There was no pressure around it. It genuinely feels like, this is like the analogy I feel for this next era of like, hey, avail check, are you interested? And I'm like, yes, I would love that. Are you serious? I would love to co-create this with you. Oh my God, I'm so down. Let's get brainstormy. Let's like create this. I'm so in. That's what it feels like. And I had that breakthrough and I'm like, that is a fucking genius analogy, because that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like the vision's landing and now I'm like, God, how am I going to do that? How the fuck am I going to do that? I don't even know how I'm going to do that. But the way it feels is not from a place of lack. I'm not in a place of lack receiving this vision. I feel like I'm being given the vision as an avail check and I'm accepting it, meaning it's already a done deal. The hard part's already done. I don't need to audition for it. I don't need to prove it. I don't need to fight for it. I got the avail check. Do I want it or not? Do I accept or not? And once I accept, it's co-creation mode of like, okay, great. Let's figure out the schedule. Tell me the dates of the show. Like, oh, when's my wardrobe fitting? Okay, great. We're co-creating. I'm in the experience now. Do I have all the answers? No. Do I know how this is going to unfold for me? No. But I've accepted the opportunity and I'm down, I'm in, and now I'm ready to co-create this and be along for the ride, right? That's how it feels for me in the what's next portion of your question, because I'm not going to lie, there was a phase of, it was probably early last year. No, actually, when was it? I think it was when, I don't know when it was. I feel like it was early in the first half of last year. I was already at multi-six figures, already had 6 figures in the bank, already like, I live in this house, which I wanted. I had the car, and everything that I started the business being like, oh my God, can I? Like, was like here. And then I was like, what's next? And it came from a place of like, this doesn't feel good. Am I going to just keep playing this game of what? This isn't good enough anymore. Like, what's next? And that's when I realized I'm not living in the dream. I'm just going from one to another, another one, next. And that's when I was like, there's a difference. I've built this, I've created this, but I'm not like, am I enjoying it? And obviously I am enjoying it, but it was like, the question isn't, let's force myself to be like, what's next? Because the vision wasn't there yet. I just landed in this new life. Like, it wasn't like, oh, like where I'm at now is like, I've experienced this new level of life. I've normalized this new level of life. I expect this level of life. It feels safe for me being here. But in that feeling of like, what's next? It wasn't actually coming from a level of integration. It was coming from a level of, how do I keep this up? What's next so I can keep outdoing myself? It was coming from that place. And that's when I realized this is not integrated, because this feels like something I need to, it feels like something I need to prove to myself I can top. So I'm playing this game of validation, or I'm playing this game of I'm not good enough until I get the next thing. And I caught it and I was like, that's not what we're doing here. That's definitely far from what we're doing here. So yeah, I'm going to expand beyond this, because that's life. I'm going to expand into my next vision. What is the next vision? I don't know. But that doesn't mean I need to play the what's next game immediately as soon as I landed here. And as soon as I was like, okay, I think I'm onto something. I've got my offers. I know I've been making 5-figure months for years now. Like, what's next? And it felt like it was coming from a place of lack instead of a place from desire. So instead of just allowing that to take me, I was like, fuck no, I'm not playing that game. I'm going to live in this life. I'm going to normalize it. I'm going to get to a point of so much certainty and stability in what I've created that then whatever next is feels genuinely like the cherry on top, because I feel so grateful, happy, solid, grounded in this new era of my life, which is now where I'm choosing as the jump off point to accept my next era that I got my avail check for. This is how it feels for me now. And that was just the what's next portion. Now I want to talk about something else. This is going to be a long riff. Strap in, bitches. Okay, so I want to talk about something else in regards to how does it feel now. When I started to normalize it, when I started to find my safety here, when I say normalize, that's what I mean. I'm normalizing that I genuinely am re-identifying myself as someone who expects life to be a certain way. If I didn't slow down to integrate, I would have felt like this success could be one bad month away from falling down. But because I slowed down long enough to integrate, to make this feel standard, expected, normal, I genuinely get myself to a place of like, there's no reality where I don't make less than X amount of money per month. There's no reality where I make, like, I haven't made less than 5 figures for a very long time per month, but like, there's no reality where like things stop working. I just like can't fucking see it. I can't feel it. But that took me feeling safe here, living in this life, normalizing this life. And a part of that was spending money. And this was where I could feel old patterns come up, very similar to what you're referencing in regards to the nail salon. And I talked about this in my podcast and somewhere else, can't remember. But I talked about this in my podcast where I was like, I was buying clothes and for Cabo, and I thought I was only going to spend like $200 or $150 or whatever it was, and it ended up coming to like $350. Clearly, it's fine. Clearly, I can pay it. But it made me feel irresponsible. It made me feel like it took me off guard. It made me feel weird at the cashier thing because I'm like, I didn't expect this to tally up to that number. I didn't expect to spend $350 on tank tops today. Like, I feel like that's being irresponsible. And it triggered me into feeling guilty for that expense. It made me feel weird as I was checking out. And then I got in the car and I kind of regretted buying all of that stuff. And I was like, what is going on? And the only reason why I caught it was because it was so ridiculous from the reality that I was genuinely living in that it wasn't valid. It wasn't a valid thought. It wasn't a valid fear. It wasn't a valid reason to feel the way that I was feeling. I felt how I used to feel when I was going to the nail salon, but I felt that around $350 when I can afford, it was not a problem, you know? So it made me realize how ingrained that old pattern is and how sneaky it is when it comes up. So what I had to do was train myself to feel, not train, what's the word? Oh yeah, kind of train. But like I had to normalize, I had to learn how to trust spending more money. Because making more money is one thing. But then trusting that you can be someone who constantly makes more money is another thing. Making more money, great, done. But the re-identification of are you someone who trusts normalizes that you are now someone who can make more money on demand. It's normal, it's expected, the standard. That's a different concept. That's I can't stop winning vibes. That's this is who I am now. That's integrating. Then there's the other aspect of spending more money. Do you trust yourself spending more money? Do you trust that that money that's going out is going to replenish itself? Because this is who you are now. Because you can't stop winning. Because you've normalized and identified as someone who knows how to make money. Can you see how this is like all connected? And then so that was like a new thing that I really started to play with last year because I took a lot of trips last year. I went on a lot of vacations last year. I started getting coffees more, like all these matcha dates, taking myself to lunch. And obviously, yes, on a logical level, I can afford it. But there was still that part of me that was like, but what if it stops? This isn't safe. You shouldn't be buying a $12 fucking matcha. What if it stops? And I was like, that's an old me. That means this isn't fully integrated. That means I don't actually feel like this is who I am. That means there's a part of me that's still in the building phase, not living in the phase. That means that I need to take more time to get integrated and feel safe in this new level of life, which means I need to trust myself at this new level of life. I need to trust myself at this new level of life. So what does that look like? How do I normalize this? And that was by doing it. That was by spending the money. And I actually, a few months ago, not even a few months ago, actually, I think it was early January, in this new era and in the way that I want to live now and in the new level of life that I want to create now and in the new identity that I want to live in now, I have to upgrade who I am in this new level of life. Otherwise, I will remain the version of me at the multi-six figures instead of the version of me at the multi-millions. How do we expand? We have to acclimate, right? We have to acclimate. And I actually had the conversation to myself and I was like, I need to spend more money. I need to be spending more money, and not just like on dumb shit. This isn't the conversation. Yeah, if it feels aligned, great, do it. Yeah, if it feels expansive, do it. Yeah, if it feels like that, this, like I'm not spending aimlessly, right? But I realized that if I want to be someone who's normalizing six-figure cash months as the baseline standard, who am I at that level? What is the level of life at that level? Am I still operating at a different frequency in regards to how I feel safe with spending money? And obviously I am not going to be spending money as like at the six-figure level right this second. Like normalizing, okay, there's nuances here, but I think you get what I'm saying. I remember in the second year of my business, after I'd made my first six figures, I felt this of I'm still living as someone who is broke, but I'm now Tanya, who runs a six-figure business. And we were still living in our apartment. And I was like, I'm still scared to spend money. The nail thing, I'd figured that out. But going to take myself to lunch on a random Wednesday because I felt like it, I'm not there yet. That's how it felt. And I was like, I need to normalize this. This is who I am though. I can't afford this. I can't afford this. I can't afford this. I'm not going to die if I fucking take myself to lunch. And I remember I took myself to lunch. It was when you guys, I love that some of you guys have been in my world for a long time. It was when I started to introduce expansion days. And on that day, I needed to be in the identity of who I was becoming, period, the end. That means I took myself to lunch and I took myself to one of my favorite hotels in Beverly Hills, the Mayborn, for the first time. And my lunch came to $120 and I couldn't fucking believe I spent $120 on lunch at the Mayborn by myself. I was like, what am I doing? But that was an expansion day. This is why expansion days came into my life, because I was like, one day out of the week, I need to fully be immersed in this next level identity. That doesn't mean I need to spend $120 on lunch on myself every Wednesday, but that does mean I was challenging myself to spend something. Sometimes that was a $5 coffee from Starbucks, but I would go walk around a nice area. Sometimes that was buying myself, I bought one of my expansion days, I went to Barnes & Noble and I bought an Abraham Hicks book, $20. But I went out, I got dressed up, I went out there and I spent a little bit of money. And I started to train myself to trust spending money, and that it was replenishing itself, and that it was safe to do that, and it was safe to live in this new reality. And I felt myself kind of feel that exact same thing happen again earlier this year, which it also happened last year. It was like, I need to spend more money. I'm now making multi-six figures per year, but I'm still living as, I'm just a six-figure girl. I don't know if it's safe to spend it. I need to acclimate. I need to expand. Spending more money made me more money. Going to Cabo twice, going on vacations, it activates me, it expands me. Am I telling you to go and spend more money? No. Do not take this as the advice that I'm giving you. I'm sharing with you for legal reasons. I need to say this. Do not take this as I'm telling you to go spend more money. What I'm telling you is that I realized that the identity that I was in was from an old reality, and I chose the expansion to be one of the pathways to get there was by me training myself to trust myself in spending more money, trusting that it will replenish itself, that I'm someone who makes money, that I'm someone who will continue to make more, right? So I felt it last year. I need to spend more money. I need to live more life. Like I'm at a different level, but I'm still living as the version of me at the six-figure level, okay? And I did it gradually to the point where I was like, I feel safe doing that. I feel safe buying flights. I feel safe now buying clothes or whatever it may be. And I felt it again this year. I was like, I need to spend more money. I need to acclimate, but it's more from a place of trust. So I know this is really long and there's so many different things in here, but I want to say two more things around this. Even though I really focus on the integration piece. I really focus on the normalizing piece. The aspects around that is from the identification of who I'm choosing to be in those moments, before, during, and after. Who am I choosing to be before, during, and after? That is really important. Now, with that being said, the empowered and disempowered spendings and savings is still something that I feel into on a daily basis. There's a lot of things that I don't buy because I don't value it in the moment. Like, I don't always buy the most expensive fucking, like, I used this example once last year where I was at a restaurant and there was all these different wines and there was a wine, but it was like $25. And I just didn't feel like spending $25 on a fucking glass of wine that day. I didn't feel like it. That doesn't mean I was spiraling into an old self. I was just like, I don't value that today. I don't value spending $25 on a glass of wine today. But there's definitely times and there's definitely moods where I get fucking lit and I want to spend $25 on a glass of wine. And I do. But it doesn't mean I need to do it all the time or else I'm not expanding into my new self. Like today, I'm getting a massage. I'm not going to a day spa and spending $500. I'm going to a spa on Ventura. I just realized none of you, Ventura means nothing. Down the street. I'm going to a spa down the street to get a massage. That's, I don't know, it's going to be like $85. I'm not making myself feel bad about that. I'm just like, I don't feel like doing the whole day spa today. I don't feel like it. But that doesn't mean if I get a spa at like a small place on the street that I'm not in my expanded mode. I don't value spending $500 today. I don't want to do that. That's disempowered. Why would I be doing that? I don't feel like doing that, but I do feel like getting a massage today. So I am going to get a massage today, but it's going to be in what feels aligned for me and what I value spending today. Right? So I just want to be clear on that. It's not always about just spend. It's about what feels in alignment for me. What feels right for me? What do I value right now? What's empowered and disempowered in regards to my spendings and savings. And this has been something that I want to share is constant work, okay? It's constant work. It's constant hand on the motherfucking pulse, okay? Constantly, like, how do I feel around this? And then when I feel the tension, when I feel myself getting contracted, when I feel myself tightening up, why? I don't just let it be and move on with my day. Why? What do I feel around that? Why does this feel weird? What part doesn't feel safe doing this right now? Why? What part is attached to an old narrative that I've outgrown? Okay, found it. All right, what am I going to do with that? Choose a different narrative, choosing a different belief, reminding myself of who I am. This is who I am now. I can't stop winning. I know how to make money. I identify as someone who makes money. I'm spending this money right now in alignment to being the version of me who makes 10 times the amount of money that I'm about to spend. This is who I am now. And now I get myself back into the right frequency. I'm not perfect with it, but it is constant work. 30 minutes. Okay, I'm wrapping this up. I love you guys. I was going to do another riff, but I'm going to leave it today. The riff request thread is now closed, and there is a bunch of riffs in here, but I didn't want to bombard you because obviously I love to go deep in my riffs. So I'm going to answer the rest of these riffs next week. We have our call on Monday. I can't wait to see you guys. I'll be answering the rest of the riffs next week, so don't stress. But I love you all. Let me know if this resonated. Let me know if you had breakthroughs. Let me know if you'll be listening to this again. I will talk to you on Monday.